Embark on an intriguing journey into the heart of Mount Rainier National Park, where we uncover 5 hauntingly true stories of mysterious deaths. Each narrative presents its enigma, challenging us to solve the puzzles left behind. From bizarre disappearances shrouded in mystery to confounding accidents that defy simple explanations, these stories beckon us into the darker recesses of human experience. Join us as we delve deeper into each chilling account, striving to unravel the complex mysteries that linger amidst the park's majestic landscapes. As the clock struck noon on January 1, 2012, the peacefulness of Mount Rainier National Park was shattered by an unexpected and harrowing event. Margaret Anderson, a devoted park ranger, went on her routine patrol, unaware of the incoming tragedy that awaited her in the snow-covered terrain. The day began like any other, with visitors bustling about the park, eager to explore its natural wonders. But amidst the flurry of activity, a lone individual set off a chain of events that would forever change the park's landscape. The scene happened at the Paradise Recreation Stop, a bustling hub situated at the 6,000-foot elevation of Mount Rainier. As Ranger Anderson diligently carried out her duties, a vehicle approached, its driver oblivious to the checkpoint ahead. Unbeknownst to the ranger, this was no ordinary traveler. This was a man with a dark past, a fugitive from justice, whose intentions were as cold and unforgiving as the mountain itself. The suspect bypassed the chain control checkpoint with a precision born of desperation, setting off a chain reaction of events that would result in tragedy. Ranger Daniel Camicia, vigilant in his duty, pursued the vehicle in an attempt to enforce the law. But the driver showed no signs of relenting, his eyes fixed on a destination known only to him. Meanwhile, Ranger Anderson, stationed at Paradise, received word of the unfolding situation. With steely resolve, she sprang into action, her instincts honed by years of service guiding her every move. Aware of the imminent danger posed by the fleeing suspect, she made the split-second decision to intercept him before he reached the crowded confines of Paradise. Positioning her vehicle strategically at Barn Flats, just half a mile below Paradise, Ranger Anderson braced herself for the confrontation ahead. With nerves of steel and a heart filled with determination, she stood at the last line of defense between the gunman and the innocent lives he endangered. As the suspect's vehicle came into view, Ranger Anderson's senses were heightened, her every muscle poised for action. But nothing could have prepared her for the chilling sight that greeted her. A man, armed to the teeth and devoid of mercy, emerging with death in his eyes. In the blink of an eye, chaos erupted on the snow-covered slopes of Mount Rainier. The suspect, wielding an AR-15 assault rifle with deadly intent, unleashed a barrage of gunfire upon Ranger Anderson, his shots echoing through the crisp mountain air like thunderclaps in a storm. Despite her efforts to evade the onslaught, Ranger Anderson was struck down in the line of duty, her life extinguished in a cruel twist of fate. As her vehicle staggered backward, a silent witness to the violence that had unfolded, the gunman disappeared into the wilderness, leaving behind a trail of devastation in his wake. In the aftermath of the tragedy, a wave of shock and grief swept through the park, echoing far beyond its snow-capped peaks. The loss of Margaret Anderson, a dedicated ranger and devoted mother, shocked the tight-knit community of Mount Rainier, leaving a lasting mark on all who knew her. But even in death, Ranger Anderson's legacy symbolizes hope and resilience. Her courageous sacrifice and memory live on in the hearts of all who cherish the beauty of Mount Rainier National Park. It was a regular day at Mount Rainier National Park, with Ranger Nick Hall gearing up for another adventure between the towering peaks. Hall was a dedicated member of the park's climbing program and was no stranger to the challenges of the mountain. Raised in the small town of Patton, Maine, Hall grew up surrounded by the beauty of the outdoors. A love for nature instilled in him from a young age by his family of emergency responders. Hall set out on a mission to rescue 4 in-distress climbers. The climbers, a group of friends from Waco, Texas, had gone on a trip to try climbing the summit of Mount Rainier, only to find themselves trapped on the dangerous Emmons Glacier route. Hall's dedication to his duty as a ranger was matched only by his love for the wilderness. With each step, he felt a sense of purpose, a desire to protect and serve those who ventured into the park's beauty. But little did he know, this would be his final mission. The weather worsened as Hall and his team descended toward the stranded climbers. High winds and thick clouds descended upon the mountain, obscuring visibility and creating hazardous conditions. Despite the challenges, Hall pressed on with determination. As he reached the crevasse where the climbers were stranded, Hall went into action. With skill and precision honed over years of training, he worked tirelessly to help the climbers, his every move calculated and deliberate. But then, tragedy happened. In a heartbreaking moment, Hall lost his footing and slipped on the icy slope, tumbling uncontrollably down the mountain. His colleagues watched in horror as he disappeared from view, his fall echoing through the silent wilderness. For Hall's family back in Patton, Maine, the news of his death was devastating. They had always known the risks of his job as a ranger, but nothing could have prepared them for this loss. Hall's father, Carter, a volunteer firefighter and EMT, struggled to come to terms with the fact that his son was gone, his voice trembling as he spoke of the son he had lost. As the days passed, the Park Service investigated the incident, seeking to understand what had gone wrong and how similar tragedies could be prevented. One theory that emerged was the normalization of risk among experienced rangers, a phenomenon that may have desensitized them to the dangers of their job. In response to Hall's death, the Park Service implemented new safety protocols and training programs, aiming to ensure that no ranger would ever again lose their life in the line of duty. For Hall's family and friends, the changes came too late. Their beloved son, brother, and friend was gone, his memory forever embedded in the rugged landscape of Mount Rainier. What if Hall had been more cautious that day, heeding the warning signs of the changing weather? What if the Park Service had implemented stricter safety measures sooner, preventing Hall's tragic fall? As the questions lingered, one thing remained certain. Nick Hall's memory would forever be a part of Mount Rainier, his family, friends, and the people he served while he was still alive. In the sprawling wilderness of Mount Rainier National Park, Karen Sykes went on what would become her final trip. An experienced hiker and known travel writer, Sykes knew the terrain intimately, having traveled its trails countless times before. Her passion for the mountains was palpable, her enthusiasm infectious. It was June 18, 2014, when Sykes, accompanied by her partner Robert Morthorst, went onto the Auwihai Lakes Trail, a path she knew like the back of her hand. The day held promise, yet unbeknownst to them, danger lurked amidst the peace present in the wilderness. As they ascended higher, the trail became increasingly dangerous, with melting snow obstructing their path. Here, Sykes decided to press forward alone, while Morthorst opted to wait behind, deeming the conditions too risky to continue. It was to be a momentary parting, a temporary divergence of paths to reunite at a predetermined rendezvous point. Hours passed and concern gnawed at the edges of Morthorst's mind with each ticking minute. When Sykes failed to return as expected, his apprehension gave way to panic. With a heavy heart, he reported her missing late Wednesday, triggering a massive search effort that would grip the attention of the nation. Ground crews, equipped with canine units and helicopters, searched the unforgiving terrain surrounding the Auwihai Lakes Trail, their determination unbreakable in the face of nature's might. Yet despite their best efforts, Sykes' whereabouts remained a mystery. Days turned into nights, each passing moment fraught with uncertainty. What if she had lost her bearings? What if she encountered an unforeseen danger? The the questions kept coming as time went by, haunting the minds of those involved in the search. Then, on June 21, 2014, a terrifying discovery shattered the hopes of those clinging to the prospect of Sykes' safe return. A ground crew stumbled upon her lifeless body, situated amidst the rugged terrain. Medical examinations later confirmed the chilling truth behind Sykes' demise. Hypothermia claimed her as its latest victim. Despite her resolve and profound knowledge of the terrain, she fell prey to nature's relentless grip. As news of Sykes' tragic fate spread across the region, it sparked a sobering reflection on the unpredictable nature of wilderness exploration. Even the most experienced adventurers are not immune to the dangers of nature, their fate entwined with the uncertain currents of the natural world. In the aftermath of her untimely passing, theories abounded, each one seeking to debunk the mystery surrounding her disappearance. Some speculated that she had lost her way amidst the labyrinthine trails of Mount Rainier, while others pondered the possibility of a chance encounter with a wild animal. However, amidst the speculation and conjecture, one truth remained immutable. Sykes' legacy is a testament to her undeniable passion for the great outdoors. Though she may have gone on her final journey in the towering peaks of Mount Rainier, her spirit lives on in the hearts of all touched by her boundless enthusiasm and love for the wilderness. What if Sykes had waited for Morthorst at the snow-covered threshold instead of going forward alone? As the questions lingered, one thing remained clear: the mountains, with their majestic allure and presence, stand as guardians and challenges to those who dare to tread upon their slopes. Chun-Hui Shang, a 52-year-old adventurer from Surrey, British Columbia, was passionate about scaling the heights of nature's wonders. Born amidst the bustling streets of Surrey, Shang's love for the outdoors was ignited at a young age. As a child, he often spent hours exploring the rough landscapes surrounding his hometown, dreaming of one day conquering the towering peaks looming in the distance. Shang's adventurous spirit flourished as he grew older, driving him to seek new challenges and discover new horizons. His love for mountaineering took him to some of the most remote and breathtaking locations on Earth, each trip fueling his insatiable thirst for adventure. In the summer of 2021, Shang set his sights on his most ambitious climb yet, Mount Rainier. Standing 14,410 feet above sea level, Mount Rainier beckoned Shang with its majestic beauty and reputation. He went on a private summit climb with close friends, eager to test his skills against one of nature's most iconic landmarks. The journey began on a warm August morning, as Shang and his companions traveled along the Disappointment Cleaver route. The air was alive with anticipation and excitement. Each step brought them closer to the summit, closer to achieving their shared dream of climbing the mighty peak. But as they went higher and higher, the mood quickly shifted from triumph to trepidation. The Disappointment Cleaver route, known for its precarious ledges and unpredictable weather, posed a dangerous challenge to even the most experienced climbers. However, unbothered by the looming dangers, Shang and his friends pressed on, determined to reach the summit at any cost. It was during the descent that tragedy struck. As Shang navigated the rocky terrain on the mountain, disaster struck in the blink of an eye. Witnesses reported seeing him lose his footing and plummet down the steep slopes of Mount Rainier, disappearing from view in a matter of seconds. The air was filled with cries of shock and disbelief as Shang's friends watched helplessly from above, their hearts heavy with fear and uncertainty. In the frantic moments that followed, mountain climbing guides and park rangers sprang into action, launching a desperate search for Shang's whereabouts. Despite their best efforts, however, the rugged terrain of Mount Rainier proved to be an unforgiving adversary, concealing Shang's fate with each passing moment. As the hours turned into days, the search for Shang stretched on, each passing moment bringing renewed pain to his loved ones waiting anxiously below. With each failed attempt to locate him, the sense of despair grew, casting a shadow over the once vibrant spirit of adventure that had brought Zhang to Mount Rainier in the first place. But amidst the darkness, there were glimmers of hope. Two international mountain guide staffers, preparing for a separate expedition, bore witness to Zhang's fall, their swift actions helping to ensure the safety of other climbers. As the search continued, those who knew him best celebrated Zhang's life and legacy. Born in a bustling city, he had forged a deep connection with the natural world, finding peace and meaning in the beauty present in nature. His love for adventure had taken him to the highest peaks and the most remote corners of the earth, each journey leaving a mark on his soul and personality. But it was on the slopes of Mount Rainier, Zhang's journey came to an untimely end, a tragic example of the risks involved in adventure. As his body was gently disengaged from the mountain's grasp, nothing was the same anymore for his family and those who knew him before. With its towering summit and breathtaking views, Mount Rainier stood as a silent witness to the fleeting moments of human ambition and frailty. Despite the tragedy, there remained unanswered questions. What if Zhang had chosen a different path? What if he had taken one less step, or one more? And amidst the shadows of Mount Rainier, one man's journey came to a tragic end, leaving behind memories that will never be forgotten by those who love and cherish him. It was a cold, grim January 2012 when Mount Rainier National Park became the backdrop for a tragedy that would shake its foundations. Benjamin Colton Barnes, a 24-year-old Iraq War veteran, found himself entangled in a web of violence and despair, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. Before that fateful day, Barnes's life was marked by turmoil and inner strife. A troubled transition to civilian life cast a shadow over his days, with accusations of post-traumatic stress disorder and suicidal tendencies haunting his every step. Court documents painted a grim picture of Barnes's personal life, with cases of domestic disputes and custody battles adding to the mounting sense of unease. A guardian ad litem's recommendation for parenting and communication classes hinted at a fractured family dynamic, while Barnes's struggles with mental health cast a dark cloud over his future. As the new year dawned, Barnes's descent into darkness climaxed. A house party in Skyway, south of Seattle, became the stage for a violent confrontation that would set the wheels of tragedy. Gunfire shattered the stillness of the night, leaving 4 individuals wounded and the specter of death looming large. Amidst the chaos, Barnes slipped into the night, his whereabouts unknown to anyone. The events of that fateful night would soon intersect within the confines of Mount Rainier National Park, setting off a chain reaction of violence and despair. In that early morning, Ranger Margaret Anderson, the victim from the first story, prepared for another day of duty. A devoted mother of 2 young children, Anderson approached her job with purpose and dedication, unaware of the dangers surrounding her. Barnes's reckless disregard for authority brought him into the park's confines, setting off a deadly game of cat and mouse. With Anderson and her fellow rangers in hot pursuit, Barnes's desperate bid for freedom descended into chaos and bloodshed. The crack of gunfire shattered the stillness of the wilderness, leaving Anderson gravely wounded and the park reeling from the shock of violence unleashed upon its landscape. The aftermath of Anderson's tragic death cast a pall over Mount Rainier National Park, leaving its inhabitants grappling with a sense of loss and disbelief. The once tranquil sanctuary of nature now bore the scars of senseless violence, and this confirms that the man who shot Anderson back in the first story was Barnes. As authorities launched a massive search to track down Barnes, the park remained on edge, its once idyllic landscape transformed into a place of fear and uncertainty. Visitors were evacuated, and law enforcement agencies mobilized their resources in a desperate bid to bring the fugitive to justice. Yet Barnes remained hidden from the law. Days turned into weeks as the search wore on, each passing moment fraught with uncertainty and apprehension. What if Barnes was hiding somewhere, waiting to strike again? What drove him to commit such heinous acts of violence? These questions lingered in the minds of all who dared to go into the wilderness of the park. Then, just as hope seemed all but lost, a grim discovery shattered the silence of Mount Rainier. Barnes's lifeless body was found face down in a creek. The once vibrant park now stood as a memorial to those who had fallen victim to the senseless violence of one man's troubled mind. The death of Ranger Margaret Anderson and the subsequent demise of Benjamin Colton Barnes served as an example of the dangers faced by those who protect our nation's natural treasures. Instead of gaining answers for the cause behind Anderson's passing, the questions increased with Barnes's unexpected death that followed. To this day, their deaths are still talked about and are still a mystery waiting to be debunked by those willing to delve deeper. Despite the unfortunate events, law enforcement officers strengthened their measures, especially within the park, to ensure this does not happen again.